Welcome to the Changing the Earth presentation on erosion. In this presentation, you will learn how different natural events change the shape of the surface of the Earth. You will explore how these different events bring about change and see how these changes have helped shape our planet. The Earth is an interesting place. Its surface is covered with tall mountains, wide deserts, low valleys, deep canyons, running rivers, and calm lakes. Did you know that these landscapes or forms are always changing? Every day, the land is being weathered or broken down by forces such as water, wind, and ice. This wearing away and reshaping of the land is called erosion. Water is one of the forces that cause erosion. Water that isn't absorbed by the soil after it rains, or water that flows down from the mountains can form a stream of water. The moving water picks up loose rocks along the way and slowly, over thousands and thousands of years, becomes a river. This river carves a deep path in the ground. As thousands more years pass, this path becomes deeper and deeper and can eventually result in the formation of a path that is so deep it is called a canyon. One of the world's most spectacular examples of this type of erosion is the Grand Canyon. The Colorado River cuts through this enormous 277-mile-long canyon. The Grand Canyon is 6,000 feet deep at its deepest point and 18 miles wide at its widest. That's as deep as 20 football fields. Erosion that has continued over millions of years is responsible for this glorious formation. Think of what it will look like in another million years. Erosion by ocean water can change the shape of coastlines. Strong ocean waves constantly crash against the shore. Ocean water slowly erodes away the rocks and cliffs. The water pounds the rocks into pebbles and reduces pebbles into sand. The eroded pieces from rocky cliffs can eventually become a sandy beach. Have you ever left a water bottle or soda can in the freezer? The ice that forms expands and causes the can or bottle to swell and even explode. Water can do the same thing to rock. If water seeps into the cracks in a rock and the temperature drops, the water will freeze and press against the rock, creating large cracks that can eventually break rocks apart. Ice can crack streets and sidewalks the same way. Notice how the rock in the picture shown has cracks? Do you see that pieces of the rock have fallen off? This is from freezing water eroding away its side. Over time, water from rain and freezing ice can create interesting patterns in rock, as shown in this image. See how the water from rain and freezing ice has etched grooves into the rock and created jagged peaks? Glaciers are giant sheets of ice that form from snow that does not melt. They form in high places, and as gravity pulls on them, they move slowly downhill. As the glaciers move, pieces of rock frozen into the ice move with them, like a giant frozen river. The moving ice scrapes against the surface of the ground, acting like a bulldozer that carves away mountains. Glaciers leave deep valleys, and as they melt, glaciers dump loose dirt and rocks on the ground. Wind is another force that can cause erosion. As it blows, the wind picks up loose particles of rock and sand and knocks them against rock surfaces. This constant grinding over time wears down the surfaces of rock and can make sharp rocks smooth. This process has a similar effect to using sandpaper to smooth a wooden surface. The effect of wind erosion can be stunning, as it can create unique rock formations. This rock is found in the Altiplano region of Bolivia. Notice the slim bottom that was shaped by the blowing sand of the desert. Living things can also cause erosion. Worms, snakes, and moles can cause erosion by digging in the soil. Tree roots can also break up the ground. As a tree grows and its roots get larger and larger, the roots cause cracks in the surrounding rock and eventually cause pieces of the rock to break. You may have noticed this in sidewalks or parking lots around your home or school. Erosion often takes thousands or millions of years to shape the land. However, certain events such as hurricanes, tsunamis, tornadoes, earthquakes, and heavy rains can speed up erosion and can cause changes in just days or mere moments. Earthquakes are the result of a sudden release of energy in the Earth's surface. This energy causes the land to shake and can drive the land to move or change. On March 27, 1964, a great earthquake occurred in the Prince William Sound region of Alaska. The earthquake resulted in large pieces of land either being uplifted or dropped down. Heavy rainfall on hills or mountain slopes can cause extensive erosion. This can occur very quickly and continue like an avalanche. The fast erosion of land is called a landslide. On June 1, 2005, many homes in Laguna Beach, California were damaged when the area received more than twice the normal amount of rainfall, causing an entire side of a steep hill containing many homes to slide down. Hurricanes are huge coastal storms that involve heavy rain, strong winds, and large waves that can damage land, trees, and buildings. In late October of 2012, Hurricane Sandy hit the eastern coastline of the United States and caused immense damage. Take a look at the movement of sand and the changes to the coastline. Entire houses were destroyed. As you have seen in the examples in this presentation, erosion and change to the shape of the land can happen slowly over time or quickly. Think about the image shown on the screen. Do you think the erosion responsible for the shape of the land in this image occurred quickly or slowly? The erosion responsible for this image occurred in just moments. This image was taken after the 2010 catastrophic earthquake in Haiti. The movement of the ground caused this landslide to occur, causing rocks, boulders, and plant life to slide down the side of this hill. How about this image? The erosion responsible for this image took thousands and thousands of years. This image is of a glacier in the Rocky Mountains of Western Canada. The movement of the glacier over time caused this valley within the mountains. And finally, what about this image? The erosion responsible for this image took thousands and thousands of years. This image is of a rock in Zion National Park in Utah. Erosion by wind and water is responsible for the interesting shape of this rock. Now that you have identified whether the erosion responsible for the previous landscapes occurred quickly or slowly, let's now think about what forces were involved in the erosion of different landscapes. Think about the image shown. What forces do you think were involved in the erosion of the surface of the land to create this landscape? Write what forces you think were involved and explain your reasoning. Write your answer on the lines provided in your launch log. What about this image? What forces do you think were involved in the erosion of the surface of the land to create this landscape? Write what forces you think were involved and explain your reasoning. Write your answer on the lines provided in your launch log. Thanks for exploring how erosion is responsible for changing the shape of the Earth's surface.